Nicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guy DJ Shuttle in the building. What up, Shuttle?
I want to say all aboard, but
You
whew, I'm not
think
all, I'm not all aboard from last night.
I was gonna say you think people jumping ship? I hope not. You know what I mean? It's the first game.
Suckers lose, confidence, then they abandon ship. You know what I
So
mean?
it's still all aboard.
They
You
told
feel me?
slick, they told slick, and they abandoned ship. You know what I mean? Rampage, Busta Rhymes,
No doubt.
1997, 1996.
No doubt. So the Knicks lost the season opener 109, 132. Got massacred, the Boston Massacre. You know what I mean? I think this game was more about the Celtics than it was about the Knicks. Number one, coming off the ring ceremony, that excitement, but also knowing the talk of the town, the talk around town was the Knicks were built to compete with the Celtics. They was hearing it, you know what I mean? So they wasn't gonna take this lightly. They had a historic night from three. I think that was the
They
main contributing factor. You know
they
what I mean?
tied the record.
Tied the record. You know what I mean? Went for the record. Missed their last 13 threes. So that says a lot in itself. But they was trying to send a statement and embarrass us. And, they were successful, but there's no reason to jump ship. You know what I mean? Like, but what was your takeaways of the loss? We'll get into starters, the bench, bright sides and everything else, concerns as well. But what was your first takeaway? I'll tell you what, 43 first quarter points. I only got to see the first quarter live. Took my
Uh,
break just to watch it. And yeah, man.
I turned away during commercials here and there, but so I missed a minute or two here or there. But yeah, I mean, it was a massacre. It was a massacre. It was a slaughter. It was what it was. Clear. It was a statement game for the Boston Celtics, and like you said, it was more about Boston than it was about the Knicks. Uh, I mean, not only do you have the everything you mentioned about the chatter about the Knicks being built to contend and compete, but you know, you got Tatum, who's an All NBA player that goes to the Olympics, barely plays, gets some DNPs. Jalen Brown wins Finals MVP, doesn't even make the team. Like as much as you could be a champion and be as great as these guys are, like they're still in a position to be like, we still got something to prove to people.
Yeah.
And you combine that with uh 13 returning players, the cohesiveness is going to be what it is. The coach is returning, and it's almost like they're playing like they're the underdog.
Yeah.
And
They're probably an undervalued champion as far as like the respect they get for the championship.
and I think that's how they came out, and that's the way they played. And I think that is going to be a lot more of that this season. I don't know if that means that they win another chip, but I think there'll be more of that this season coming from the Boston Celtics.
Um, you want to deep dive into the game, or you want to get into some of the questions and topics?
Why not questions and topics first?
All right.
Let's get the
Peace, King.
let's get
Salute.
the, let's get the engagement.
Um, did this game answer any questions for you, or did it give you more questions?
It gave me more questions. Give me more questions because I know it's only one game, but this situation at center is I know we have Towns playing center, but well, maybe say center slash power forward. Like I know everybody loves Hart. I love Hart just as much as anybody, but is it really enough with him on the court? He missed open shots. They were playing that who was that the Philly defense where they just left him open.
Mm-hmm.
So they were playing that Philly defense from the playoffs on him. He was bricking, and you know, we were undermanned on the boards. So that's the biggest question for me is, is this team going to be able to handle the rebounds and handle, the boards, which was my biggest concern
Mm-hmm.
and why I was proposing to start Precious over Hart
Mm-hmm.
in the first place. And I felt like, all right, maybe you want to use Precious as the backup center over Sims. So, I get that. But yeah, it's a concern for me.
That's some of the same questions. I guess the big thing with that is with Precious out, that adjustment can't be made. You know what I mean? So where would we go from here? I don't think Hart played bad. I thought he missed. I think he was 0 for 2 from 3, but overall he shot the ball well. Um, my concern with Hart, if he's going to remain in the starting lineup, is he has to keep shooting them threes. You know what I mean? He can't hesitate on them. He has to make himself a threat because that's gonna be the MO. But his overall game in general last night I thought was pretty good. Another thing that bothered me though with him, it looked like if he was going to try to initiate a break or if he had the ball, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't aggressive as far as looking for a shot. He took 5, I think, or either 5 or 7 shots, but he also looked like he was deferring too much and ultimately looking for Brunson in particular more than
More
what
than
was available. You know what I mean? So he was limiting himself. So but I think that's just a work in progress. If he remains, I'm not calling for him to remain. I don't think he's going to be a detriment if he does stay in. Like I think he'll figure it out. But he has to remain. He has to remain an offensive threat. He took, I think, more shots than OG though. You know what I mean? So
Hart was 4 of 6. OG was 1 of 7.
okay, one less shot. He shot better. OG though, I think he needs to also what I'm saying about Hart. That goes down double for OG. You can't take 7 shots, bro. You
Not
can't take seven
not in
shots.
34 minutes.
Um, did it answer any questions?
No, not at all. I mean, I just I'm just not I'm not a believer in the Josh Hart starting lineup, and I'm just going to see how it plays out. And I'm just gonna, do my best to be patient with it because, I firmly believe that having Bridges as the two and OG as the three and someone else that is more formidable, a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", kind of bigger body down low is allowing a better advantage of the players OG and Bridges. I feel like that is a potential that's a potential plus for the team, and not and being undersized kind of takes a step back in terms of their value to the team. So um, yeah, I'm just hoping that the team gets healthy and we can get a proper lineup out there.
No, for sure. I mean, is there an adjustment you would make as constructed, or are you rocking out with Hart? Um, you know what I mean? That's because that's been a big talking point before the season even started.
It's like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, Precious is out, you know, so I mean, like, you really, unfortunately, you really don't even have There's really no real option. You know what I mean? Well, let me take that back. There were people that have discussed starting Deuce, and when you see how Deuce played last night, those people are probably poking their chest out today. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I mean, if the idea is to start Hart because you want to put your best lineup out there, maybe he's not the best lineup out there. Maybe having Deuce and having somebody that can put pressure on the ball and can um, be more of a threat from outside. Maybe that's a better lineup.
We're gonna talk about Deuce for sure. And that was my guy. You wanted Precious, I wanted Deuce. I think Queen wanted somebody else. I forget. But yeah,
Hammond, who's
Shamit. That's right, Shamit. My bad. I forgot because he ain't on the squad yet right now. But
out of sight, out of mind.
yeah. Shout out to O'Hay. He said salute guys. OG didn't show up. Mikal got into the flow. I don't like Hart starting either, and we should try to Porty or Sims as center so other players can go to their natural positions. Um, that was also on my list of things to talk about. I don't think Porty even gets that shot as a rookie this early in like obviously is he would have to show out a lot to kind of get that respect from Tibbs, and he hasn't had enough time to do that. It takes time to kind of get into circle of trust. As far as Sims, um, he is who he is, right? One thing I gotta give him his props on, and it's like the only thing, but he rebounds the ball, um, and he's a vertical threat at the rim. So I can see, I understand that logic. There's logic in that, especially if the idea is for Mitch to start whenever he comes back. Sims is the best replica of you know Mitchell Robinson. So that could kind of get you into that flow of how you want to play long term once he's back. If that is the thinking of the Knicks, um, it does bring Hart off the bench where he could kind of um maybe be more aggressive and not defer as much because he's I think he is deferring too much. You got to look at yourself in this offense as a true offensive threat at all times, and that goes for everybody. You know what I mean? You can't. Brunson's gonna get his on his own. You don't need to defer to him for him to get his. You understand? So I think that's kind of the problem collectively with the other four starters. Cat didn't take enough shots for me. You know what I
Nine.
mean? 9 shots. That's. I mean, he only played what 24 minutes.
Right.
And I don't know what that's about. What you know what I mean? Whatever that maybe that just happened somehow. Maybe Tibbs saw something. His defense wasn't great, that's for sure. You know what I mean? But 9 shots, I need more than that from Kev. Um, but yeah, what's your thoughts on starting Sims Porty like O has said a big while Precious isn't here? Because I agree, Precious is probably the best option.
Well, I gotta agree, just real quick. Porty's not gonna even be in consideration for that role as of today. Uh, but Sims, to your point, I hadn't even. I'm gonna be honest with you. I never thought about the idea of a Twin Towers with Mitch and Towns because I don't like it. So I guess I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought I didn't like it. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of got that off my radar. But being in real time and being where the games count now, and being how much I would prefer Bridges and Brunson at the 2 and the 3, you know, maybe there's some value in Sims being in the center role. Whether this means you would start um, Robinson or not, I don't want to even go there. Let's just deal with right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For right now, I mean, with Sims rebounding and shot blocking, I mean, could he be more valuable than Hart? That's really the question. And
And will it elevate Hart's game playing in the second unit where he doesn't defer as much, try to get Mikal involved, trying to get the ball to Brunson, every chance you get. Maybe he looks to be a little bit more selfish.
yeah, more assertive. Yeah, I think. Listen, it does obviously it's the Boston Celtics and it's game one, so it's not something that I would look to jump to for game
Hmm.
two. But if Hart plays in a similar fashion, I would definitely consider it. Since not my favorite guy, but you know, listen, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 24 minutes. I mean, it's reasonable. It's definitely reasonable, and he's young enough and has enough of a motor that if you need to play him for extended minutes, you could, sit Towns, keep him in at center, and then bring Towns in and then sit him. So, um, you know, I
And
would
he was the first sub in the game. Like I said, Towns only played 24 minutes. He was the first sub in the game.
before
Like,
Deuce. I thought Deuce was first.
no, Sims for Cat. And then Deuce for OG, which was weird considering um that moved Mikal to the four. Yeah, so it was
Well,
shocking to me.
Boston's not really a quote unquote big team. So
That's true.
OG at the four, or McCall at the four, depending on because if we get Jalen Tatum in there, I mean even the guys that they brought to the bench, Hauser and Tillman, like these aren't really big guys.
One of the questions that I had, and it's still there. Obviously, um, it's gonna take 10, 20 games before a lot of these questions get answered anyway. But the identity of the team, I know Sim, pardon me, shout out to Sim. Sim said he thought we lost some of the identity in this trade with Randall. I'm not referencing that when I say this, but the identity of the team, over the last 2 years, was interior defense, which that has nothing to do with last night's game because that was all exterior. And that's been a problem for us over the past 2 years where teams get hot from three. You know what I mean? Like guarding the perimeter shot. I so that still remains a question. But the rebounding and the interior defense has been a staple for us. You know what I mean? Especially offensive rebounding. Does the philosophy or does the identity change with this new personnel? And that might be part of the reason Hart is in the game to kind of keep that rebounding edge because you know especially offensive rebounding. If Cat is going to be on the perimeter, which for the most part we believe he is, he only shot two last night. I expect that to double and triple as the games move forward.
Yep.
That's taking him away from the paint to offensive rebound, right? So that means that relies on OG, Bridges, Hart, and Brunson to kind of get those offensive rebounds when he's out on the perimeter. Even if he ain't take the shot, you know what I mean? Like he might be out there to be the threat to open the lane. So if someone else is taking the shot, he's away from the rim. How are we gonna be? How are we getting these rebounds that we're accustomed to getting? If we're playing five out, everybody's out. Where's the offensive rebounding threat? So is that just an adjustment to playing five out, but still having to refocus on the rebounding, or is that going to be something that changes? What's your thoughts?
Listen, we as a team here in New York, we lost a little bit of the edge with Mitch being out. You lose some with Precious being out. Um, it's just tough right now. It's like, yeah, Hart can grab some boards and he can be assertive, but you know, he's got to have his head in the game. You know what I mean? And that is a little bit of a concern for me, even more than the aggressiveness. Is like is you are you locked all the way in? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever felt that way about Josh Hart. And shout to my guy Sporty. You know what I mean? I just don't know if I ever felt that way. Like, is Josh Hart locked into the game? Because it didn't feel like he was on the boards with the aggressiveness, and it's only one game, and it is the champs. So respectfully, I don't want to respond too hastily. You know what I mean? Because yeah, listen, Boston is favored to win the chip for the third year in a row. And I think right now the best I could do is to give them their respect as a team who they are, and see what happens with the Knicks against some of the other less formidable opponents.
Well, I've seen a lot of people out there. This is where I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant, but I've seen a lot of people out there killing, you know, Mikel and killing OG for this defensive effort. You know what I mean? A lot of them were not Knicks fans too. You know what I mean? They know about the whole wing stop monarch. They calling them wing flop, and this is who y'all brought in to stop us, and this that and the third thing. First of all,
I love it.
we got Wingstop here to defend y'all in the playoffs, right? In a 7-game series. Yeah, yeah. So don't get all excited, you know what I mean? And Knicks fans, don't get all discouraged because they had bad outings against these two guys in the first game of the season. You know what I mean? It's about a 7-game series, about adjusting, about figuring these guys out. Um, so yeah, like it's still Wingstop. It wasn't just about the Celtics. It's about the league. I still say we got the best defensive tandem, wing tandem in the league. So we shall see. And y'all shot historic last night. You know what I mean? Like, come on. But it's still Wingstop. It's not wing flop. Cut it out.
Yeah, and the Celtics shot so well, you didn't really get a chance to see full fledged rebounding efforts
Half
and
court.
opportunities because they made so many shots until the last 13.
And when we're at our best, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be it's gonna be more half court defense. You know what I mean? And then in the playoffs, it's gonna slow down and it's gonna be lot more ISO, and that's where they're gonna thrive a lot more in the isolation defense. But yeah, Tatum had a night. Can't you know what I mean? Gotta give him his props.
The whole
He
team had a night.
Yeah, the whole team. But Tatum was looking crazy out there. What he end with? 30 something, right?
Oh man, let's see. Jason Tatum shot 14 of 18 from the field.
30 something.
He shot 8 for 11 from three.
And really had 40?
He had 10 assists and 37 points.
37.
He
Okay.
only had one turnover. He was a
All right.
plus. He was a plus 28.
See he trying to go for that MVP, huh?
Oh man, listen, all these DMPs. I'm all NBA first team. Y'all not even playing me. Yo, one of the announcers. I'm not sure if you heard this. One of the announcers said, "Man, if he's doing this to the Knicks, I feel sorry for Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors."
I didn't hear that, but that's funny.
Yeah, Jalen Brown 23, Derek White 24, Holiday 18, Old Man
Yeah,
Horford. Old man Horford 3 of 5 from 3-point range, 11 points.
yeah, they was knocking them joints down. I hear you, Jarrell. I hear you. I heard you last night too. 20 games. I know. I know we just pointing out, you know what I mean, what we saw. I definitely think things will be different, moving forward next time around as well. Shout out to Jeremy. He says Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown combined for 60, 11, 11. OG McCall 25 for 5. RJ Barrett solo stat line. Uh,
Yikes.
uh, wow, that hurts. Yeah, I can't argue with it too. That is an RJ Barrett stat line.
I just said yikes.
Wow, man. Um, let's talk about some positives that we saw in the game. Number one for me, I gotta go with Deuce. You know what I mean? Like he was the standout for me. Came in early, you know what I mean, and produced. He seemed like he was one of the few guys that came ready to play from the start, and he spoke on it on his post game interview, just citing the advantage of not starting and seeing what is needed from that bench view. So when you come in, you know exactly what I mean, what you got to come in and provide and implement. And to me, that was like such a strong statement. It just shows his growth, right, as a player. Not just the fact that he came in ready and performed, but the fact that now he's analyzing the game. You know what I mean, and coming in with these little pointers to have him ready to perform. Um, and that's a. It sound like something Tibbs taught him. You know what I mean? It sound like something Tibbs would preach. Um, but yeah, shout out to Deuce, man. 22 points. I think him and Brunson both had 22, right? So you know what I mean. Cole led the team in points. Shot the hell out of the ball. I think he was 8 for 10 and 4 for 5 from three, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. I mean, at one
Um,
point he was 6 for 6 from the field in the first half.
mm, yeah. Um, and that's where that dilemma comes in. He's blue. He's like, Deuce needs to start, and I'm partial. Like that's what I was on from the beginning. You know what I mean? When Shamit was still here, when Precious was still healthy, I wanted Deuce to start as well. Um, without Shamit, without Precious, where's our offensive punch coming from in that second unit? That's my only dilemma with starting Deuce. But he looks good next to Brunson. That was my argument from the beginning. And the numbers show that the Knicks play well with him in the starting lineup next to Brunson going back to last year. Um High efficiency. So it's a tough, you know what I mean? Like I'm not mad if Tibbs does it. I would be all for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but where does that offensive punch come in that second unit? Now I expect Josh Hart to look for his shot a lot more in the second unit. But he ain't the shooter that Deuce is. You know what I mean? Like he's hit
Yeah,
spotty at best. You,
and
you know what I mean?
more coast to coast offense off the break.
Um, does that open up the floor for Kolek to maybe come in and kind of help with his facilitation and getting everybody some offensive looks? Um, does that put more pressure on Campaign to kind of look for his shot and maybe, you know what I mean? If I like what Campaign has done, so I don't want to knock him, but you know what I mean. Maybe look to overdo it, play outside himself. Um, if if we need bench production, so there's questions as far as should we do it or not. I'm not mad if we do though, because that's what I wanted from the beginning. But without Shamit now, without Precious, I'm like, where's that bench production coming from? What you think?
Definitely fair point, but I don't know. I've always been more concerned about my starting lineup than my bench. You know what I mean? Because you can stagger your bench players along with some of the starters. Again, I'm not for the whole 5-man sweep, 5 starters out, 5 bench players in. Like that's not really my style. You know what I mean? Like you put 2 off the bench, keep 3 starters, or reverse it 3 and 2, however you got to play it. And yeah, I mean, listen, if you feel like Deuce is giving you the best chance to dominate games, because yeah, I mean, of course, in the NBA, teams make runs, but if you have first quarters similar to what these guys did yesterday, your chances are a whole lot greater if you're up 15 in the first quarter that you're going to win a game. You know what I mean? Like you got to, get these teams out of it mentally
Yeah,
and just,
knock
like
them out early.
40 below them. You know what I mean? 40 below them early, and just now you just stagger your starting lineup with some of the bench players, and they'll be able to rest some of your starters toward the end of games when you have the lead that's substantial enough that that you don't have to play them.
Um, Jarrell says if Deuce starts, Payne got to put up buckets, and that's like for me that's a concern. My question to you, Jarrell, are you saying that and you saying it's a concern, or are you saying that he's capable of it, and that might work? Um,
Well, I mean, it seemed like he was looking for buckets last night.
he was, and I think he is. He's pretty balanced. You know what I mean? Like you could probably consider him a score first guy, but able to kind of facilitate. So it might work. It might work. It could work. Um,
I don't know. I'm not in love with the small guard lineup. You know what I mean? This ain't the '80s. This ain't the
Sherman
'80s.
said Gobert just signed a 3 year, 110 million extension. We need to trade Mitch. We don't have money to keep him. Is Mitch is not expiring though, right?
He's got one more year.
We got one more year after this. Uh, he said, I'm not putting up that. What was your thoughts on Dadier, man? I think he looked good. He played early, which was surprising. You know what I mean? First rook off the bench. Um,
I gotta say it. How many times did I call for Daddy in the preseason? How many times did I call for it?
did
Yo, I like this kid, man. I think he has an opportunity to make an impact. And of all the rookies, I think he has a chance to make the biggest impact of all the rookies of this team. As
he
much as
definitely has the highest ceiling.
he has the um, he has the least amount of people in front of him to get playing time. He's better than Toppin right now, in my opinion. He's better than Toppin. Shamit's not here, and you know um, he could come in for OG or Macau.
Yeah,
And if you take both of them out and you put Hart in, you're gonna likely put Hart at the power forward with Pacome at the small forward. I like it.
yeah.
I like his game. I like his effort. I like what he brings to the team. Of course, he's a rookie. He's raw. He's got to figure it out. He doesn't have all the answers yet, but don't be surprised if this guy is made a huge impact on this season when it's all said and done.
I mean, I won't be. I think the best thing about what's going on now is he's getting, he got to play against the world champs. You know what I mean. He got to play against dominant veterans and learn and kind of get his feet wet early. You know what I mean. So I expect, what I mean, this and having a decent showing. You know what I mean. So this will build confidence moving forward. Um, Came in, knocked down a shot right off the jump. Uh, um, I think he can be utilized, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm looking forward to seeing that. East Blue Drew says I'm waiting for Ariel to start. I don't know about start, but I wouldn't be surprised if he also impacts this team. Um, you know, he's looked good in his limited time in preseason and came in and I think he played 6 minutes, grabbed a couple rebounds. I mean, didn't score the ball, but that's not what we're looking for from him. We need rebounding and interior defense from our bigs. Somebody to help give Cat some help. Um, I like what I saw from Cat. I just needed more. And I think again, first game of the season, I think we'll see him get more comfortable and that'll come. I guess the defense, you know what I mean. You could chalk that up to first game of the season and Celtics as well, but again, I need more. You know what I mean? No blocks in the game. Um, I didn't like them putting Drew Holiday on him. I talked about that the other day. Like that shouldn't be an option for the opposing team. I don't want to see them putting the Marcus Smarts, the Drew Holiday. Like I know they're good defenders. You know what I mean? They're defensive player of the year type players, but you should be offended at 7 foot. You know what I mean? There's one thing for Randall for them to do that with Randall, who's an undersized four. You know what I mean? At 7 foot, you gotta abuse those guys. He did it a few times, but it wasn't. It
I
wasn't
was
enough.
I
It
was
wasn't
offended.
enough.
I was offended. Forget about Towns being offended. I was offended last night. I
I
was.
was too because I just finished saying, "Oh, they can't do that. They can't do that with Cat." You know what I mean? They did it with Randall. They can't do that with Cat. And um, yeah,
I mean, I love Drew Holiday as a player, so it's hard not to just salute him. But um, but Cat, we got to do better. We got to do better. Like that. That needs to be something that's worked on in practice.
oh, sounds like somebody mad. Says Jeremy says Pacone Daddy is far superior to OG Ananobi and Mikal Fultz. Oh, the Knicks have over 450 million committed to Cat OG Mitchell Robinson. Soft injury prone, usual suspects. First game of the season, bro. I mean, I hope you. I hope you. I hope they change your mind by the end of the year. I'll say that. I don't agree. I mean, the money is accurate, but I don't agree with the takes of soft. Yes, injury prone. Let's hope they stay healthy. O has said, why did our point guard feed Towns when he had why didn't our point guard feed Towns when he had Drew covering him? That's on the point guard. Give Cat the ball.
I saw
Um,
I saw one time when Towns looked like he had good position. He was posting up, but it didn't really feel like he was like in control and demanding it enough.
mm-hmm.
And listen, if you don't want to drink the water, I can't make you drink it. So if you're not acting like,
You
yo,
want the ball.
give me the ball, I got this little dude on me. I don't care if I'm the point guard, and I'm not really going to get it to you with any additional sense of urgency like that. And I kind of get the feeling like that's really what played out. Less of
And
they
it's
didn't
fun.
want to give it to him.
It's funny that you say that because last night I kind of was on the side of, all right, maybe somebody got to push him or whatever. Maybe Brunson got to be like, yo, take your ass down in the post. And you know what I mean? Like you got Drew Holiday. But the same is in reverse. Cat needs to be like, yo, I got this guy in the post, get position, ask for the ball. And then if you don't get it,
Demand the ball.
demand the ball.
Demand the
But
ball.
then if you don't get it, now you have that right to, you know what I mean, to start barking a little bit. Like You know what I mean? Like, so it goes both ways. I was putting it on the point guard to kind of push him, but nah, it goes both ways. He got to recognize that and feel offended.
Yeah.
They go crazy. Cartwright Bridges. He
Nah,
turned it around in the second half. He had good numbers in the second
yeah,
half.
I don't know. That was like Dak Prescott, like putting up numbers when they don't mean nothing.
I mean, it a lot of times, like he said in post game interview, um, sometimes you just gotta see the ball go in. You know what I mean? And so there's credence to that. Anybody who play ball, whether it's on any level, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta see it go in to kind of
Even I
find
think
your rhythm.
even when it's in the fourth quarter of the blowout, even when it's in the fourth quarter of a blowout, that's why people say, "Oh, why is he still in the game? Get him out the game." It's like, nah, you don't want to leave the game with this nasty taste in your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, let him make a couple of shots and then pull him out.
Nah, for sure.
But I wanted to say, you mentioned about the pluses, and you mentioned the biggest plus. One of your biggest pluses was Deuce, and I say, yeah, I would say by far was Deuce, but I definitely, I know we touched on him a little bit, but I gotta highlight Sims because I've been a little tough on Sims, and I was ready to ship him out. So, um, you know, I mean, he's one of the few players that showed up. In terms of what you expect from him and what he actually did. You know what I mean? I think his play matched expectations. You know what I mean? So, if you told me, Sims was going to play 24 minutes, get 9 boards, and have 4 points, I'd be like, all right, yeah, that's a decent game off the bench for Sims. So, you know, I don't look at him and I don't say, man, I wish Sims would have played better. What could
Mhm.
Sims have done? He underperformed. Nah, I mean, if anybody, other than Brunson and probably Deuce, he's the only other player that he's the only other player that I think matched what you would have expected from him.
Shaft, Jason Benjamin for the super chat. He said, "All these overreact, all this overreacting over one game, Knicks fans, lol." Oh, I think we all acknowledging that is a double super chat that we acknowledging this one game. He says, "And can we please get Hart out the starting lineup?"
But can I double down? Can I double down on Jason? You make one chat and you say we're overreacting, and then you come back and you say get somebody at the starting lineup. It's only one game. Where they do that at. But I do agree with you. But I do agree with you though. I've been trying
on both on both takes.
I've been trying to get Hart out the starting lineup before they even put him in there. Before preseason even started. When people were talking about it, I was like, no, please, no. But here we are. Here we are. But we'll see when Precious comes back. We'll see if Sims comes if Sims can prove to be a reasonable backup center, and you don't have to put Precious in that center, maybe you can put Precious in that power forward. And I don't know. The way Precious was playing in the preseason, he was aggressive. He was assertive.
Hmm.
And I feel like that is what was needed last night, and that's more what's needed from that position. And again, typically Hart has been that type of guy, even at 6'4". But if he's not going to be that guy, then we don't need him in the starting lineup because he's not in for shooting, not in for his ball handling. We got you in there you know for the vibes. You know what I'm saying? Last night it was no vibes. You know what I mean?
That's funny because he always talks about vibes. The
Uh,
vibe,
yeah,
the
I mean,
vibes are immaculate.
last night, vibes dead. Another thing too, that thing you mentioned about Deuce, about seeing what's needed. Just like a quick sidebar analogy. That's like if I'm DJing at a party, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a couple of DJs, let's say it's,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's playing first, somebody plays second, depending on where I'm in the lineup. Like I don't go to a party with one set. Like I'm just gonna do this, unless they tell me, yo, this type of theme party,
Mm-hmm.
this person's gonna do this and you're gonna do that. If they don't tell me that, then I'll come ready for basically for anything. And I'm looking at the crowd like, all right, he been playing, reggae mad long. You know what? Let me come back with some old school. He didn't play old school hip hop yet. Let me come with old school hip hop. Like just seeing
Mm-hmm.
what the game needs. So yeah, as you were talking about that, I was like, yeah, that's that point guard mentality that I bring to DJ in.
Yeah,
So
man. Shout out to Deuce. Can he make six man? Because he his improvement from last year, from the beginning to end of the season, was tremendous. Um, so if he could have a full year of that, I think that in itself is gonna look different. You know what I mean? A full year of him doing what he did in the tail end. Once the trades was made, once quickly was gone and his role got increased. And there's a I mean, yeah, he had so many different increases in his role last year after the trade. You know what I mean? After some injuries, so
and,
yeah, I think he's ready to kind of solidify himself.
and then the playoffs.
And then the playoffs, absolutely. Wayne Peterson said Facone Dadier looks like he can maximize a small role. I think that's the key. I think that's the key. Don't give him too much. Don't give him too much. Honestly, I feel like all three of our rookies can kind of maximize a small role. And as much as I'm high on Kolek, um, it's probably the toughest role for him. You know what I mean? Being that point guard position and at his size, but the other two, and if McCullough ever actually gets healthy, I think he's another one because of his size. A small role, these guys are able to maximize and be vital parts to our season.
I'm not expecting anything from McCullough this year.
Nah, I think he's probably behind Kolek just because he's behind the I mean he's behind on the timeline with not being healthy. So
Yeah,
had he got
it's a redshirt year for him. He's To me, he plays the same position as Daddy A. Like
you think so?
maybe he's a shooting guard, but I don't know. To me, he's an undersized small forward,
Mm.
and I think Daddy A is a small forward. And I think that if it comes to minutes between him and McCullough, I don't really see him taking any minutes from Daddy A.
See, I see him more of Josh Hart, but you could argue a three for Josh Hart too. Might not be his natural position. Excuse me, but I think he shoots better than Hart. Um, at least coming out. Oh, pardon me. Let's see. Anything else stood out in the game for you?
I mean, you kind of lightly touched on it, but it needs to be highlighted. OG's lack of impact, OG's lack of presence, OG's lack of assertiveness. This was back to the OG you were saying when he kind of first got here, and said OG has to take 12 shots, 14 shots a game, and he has to look for a shot more. He has to some of what we did actually see in the preseason a little bit
Mm-hmm.
where he was taking the ball, making some moves, pulling up for the mid ranges in the paint, right outside the paint. But I don't know. It seemed like almost like he didn't play any preseason, and then like this was his first game.
Start finding players like OG. If you ain't take more than 12 shots, you get the five. uh, Cat. If you ain't taking more than 17 shots, you know what I mean. I'll even go 15. If you ain't taking 15 or more, yeah, we gonna have to take a deduction out the game salary. But yeah, these guys are gonna have to be more of a vital threat. What do you think on a lot of people? I've been hearing this a lot. Well, let me shout out O'Hare. He said I'd rather see pass first Kolick over Payne.
You will eventually.
I was gonna say only time will dictate that. You're not gonna see that right now immediately. What's your thoughts of the people saying Brunson has to pass more, be more of a facilitator?
My thoughts are when they start making baskets, his assists will go up, and they'll probably get the ball more too. But if you ain't making shots, it looks like I'm not passing more. You know what I mean? But you know, listen, you saw the stats, and let's go back to it. And I'm pulling it out right now. Bear with me. Okay, got it right here. Okay, and we're gonna go to the box score. The team shot. Oh, wow! And they said this during the game. The team shot 55% from the
Yeah,
field.
the Knicks shot well. The Knicks shot well. They didn't. They shot 20 less shots and
That
30
was the issue. That was
threes,
the issue.
or was it 30 less? Yeah, 30 less 31 less threes, right?
Boston shot. They shot 61
61.
attempts. The Knicks had 30 attempts.
They shot 31 more threes than them.
They also had 11 offensive rebounds, twice as many as the Knicks.
One of
Defensive
those.
defensive rebounds were even.
It's one of those things that worry me. You know what I mean? That was a staple for us.
Offensive rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're gonna lose that. You're gonna lose that with Cat. But like I also said earlier in the preseason, I don't mind getting a few less offensive rebounds. That means you probably made a few more shots. I'd rather shoot a higher percentage
Yeah.
than get out more
Yeah.
offensive rebounds.
Yeah. And we shot the ball well, so that's taking away some of those opportunities when the ball goes in. Shout out to Wiz BKLA. Unfortunately, Josh Hart needs to come off the bench. So I am all for either Deuce, Jadier, or Porty, but definitely Precious when he's healthy. I agree 100%. Oh well, I mean, let's see.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually do agree. But I'll even throw Sims in there, like I said. Because even if you throwing Sims in there, Huck Porty's role increases.
Porty then becomes your backup center.
Unless you're doing that with Cat. But I don't know. I think I might like Cat at the 4. Oh, we have yet to really see it, but I think I might like that just to give us back that edge, rebounding wise, which we know what that has done for us, even when we shot the ball historically bad. Um, let's see, I get that up. All right, my bad. There we go. Wayne Peterson says Sims will be right at the basket and do a Ben Simmons. Oh, I wouldn't consider it a Ben Simmons. He's not afraid to get fouled, so you know what I mean. Like, he'll, and he'll try to attempt to go up for a putback. Jason Benjamin again, appreciate the super chat. Offensive rebounds will increase with Precious and Mitch. I agree 100%. Those, Hartenstein, Precious, Mitchell Robinsons were huge parts of our success in that area throughout last year. At, you know what I mean, at different points. Obviously, Mitch went down. Hartenstein's numbers went up after that, and Precious, was a late addition. So I agree with that, but there's there's a timeline on that. And me personally, I know Precious is like 2 to 4 weeks. My preference is the full 4 weeks and then reevaluate it. And it seems like that's what the Knicks tend to do anyway. When there's a timeline, it's usually a full timeline. You know what I mean? Like it's never 2 weeks or 3 weeks when the timeline is 2 to 4. But the reason I say that is the hamstring. Um, that has hampered us over the years. When guys get hamstring injuries, it takes a while for them to come back. That's what that's what OG suffered too, right? In the playoffs, and obviously he
Against
he
Indiana. Yep.
he got now granted that was only a week kind of where he tried to come back. But yeah, you don't want people to come back on a bad hamstring and risk it reoccurring or just not fully healing, because then that becomes an all season thing. So I'm looking at it like we're gonna miss Precious for a month. So we got to figure out some things in the meantime. But I agree. Appreciate the super chat. Couple more comments and then we get out of here. Uh, Wiz BKLA, offensive rebound lessons when shooting high percentage, but are easier when taking a lot of 3 pointers. Perfect storm. That's a great point because I do think we need to take more 3 pointers, and we got to find that niche. Maybe that's again if Hart is starting and Cat is attempting more than two threes, you know what I mean? Where he's attempting 5 to 10, 5 to 8 threes a game. Maybe that opens up that niche for the also, you know what I mean? If we miss, get that offensive rebound, throw teams off. That's one of the hardest shots to defend, the shot after the offensive rebound, because you're kind of scrambling. You know what I mean? So that is a good point and a perfect storm.
Listen, I just mentioned that earlier. Shoot a higher percentage over offensive rebounds. You know, yeah. I mean, Keith Turner. There you go.
Said Brunson should be at least averaging 7 assists or more a game this season anyway.
I agree. I think he will. But if he doesn't, look at the field goal percentages of the rest of the team in the starting lineup. Because if they shoot what you expect from them, then he should get 7 assists easily. You know, I expect him to get 2 or 3 assists to Towns without even trying hard. You know,
Jeremy says Shamit is done for the season. I don't know if you're reporting it or just speculation. But then we got Keyshawn says apparently we're gonna sign Matt Ryan. I did see a report that the Knicks had interest in him. I'm not really familiar with him, but I do know that his calling card is 3 point shooting. Are you familiar with Matt Ryan?
I can't say I am.
So, isn't there an actor named Matt Ryan too?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay. That's why I was bugging when I read the reports, but
And
I,
so
I
when I
definitely,
saw that, when I first saw the name, that's what I was thinking of. So apparently he's supposed to be a sharpshooter.
yeah, yeah. That like that's his calling card, or you know what I mean, what he bring. Um, got another super chat. Let me see. Jason Benjamin, appreciate you, my man. He says that that heart that heart pump fake 2 times when the Celtics Celtics backup big man defends him instead of taking him off the dribble made me sick. Yeah, that's the
I've
problem
heard,
with it. Like
I've heard of that play.
the hesitation. Like, yeah, uh, he'll figure it out though. He went through this last year. The difference was he went through it in a shooting slump. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's not. It wasn't a slump coming into the from the preseason. It was just a lack of shooting, like lack of attempt. So, but he definitely went through the same thing where he was in a slump and then he just stopped shooting, hesitated. He wouldn't shoot it unless he was wide or wide. You know what I mean? Like nobody was around him, and he knew he'd get yelled at if he didn't. Well,
just to double back to Matt Ryan really quick for some
Hmm.
context for listeners or viewers that are not familiar. He's played 4 seasons in the league. Year one, he really didn't play. Actually, 3 seasons. Year one, he really didn't play with Boston. One game played 5 minutes. Then he played in 22, 23, 12 games with the Lakers, 22 games with Minnesota. And last year, he played with New Orleans. In the last 2 seasons, he's averaged 10 about 10 minutes a game, and he's shot respectively from 3 point range 37 with the Lakers in half season and 39 with Minnesota. And last year with New Orleans, he shot 45%
45%. Yeah, I
on
was
three
reading that.
on 3.3 attempts per game and 14 minutes a game. So I mean, you get a guy at the bench to play 14 minutes, pop up three threes, and shoot 45%. Shot 93% from the foul line. Listen, you could do
Look,
that right now.
they said they brought Fournier in, he broke the 3-point record. They brought Dante in, he had a career year, broke the 3-point record. They felt like they was about to do that with Shamit. Now they're like, you know what? We need a specialist. I ain't mad at it. If you know what I mean, I ain't mad at it. I think he's a taller guy too, right?
Yeah, he is listed. Oh, they don't even have his height right here. Hold on.
Pretty sure he's taller than 6'4". So you know what I mean, like
He's a forward.
6'7", 6'6",
Yeah,
something like
six
that.
seven, 6'8", six
Um,
six, 6'6".
okay, so yeah, that's another plus. We need it. We needed a replacement for Shamit, especially if he's done. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at that addition at all. And yeah, let's see what he could bring. I'm about to deep dive. I didn't even think to look into his highlights last year. I mean last year, last night. But I did read that last night that they were interested. Um, that might
You
confirm.
you get so many reports about people being interested. It's like, you know, talk to me
Well,
when
it was Sham. So you know when Sham do it, it's a little, you know what I mean. It's some little bit more validity to it, and the fact that it's a necessity, a need of ours right now. I definitely I definitely thought it was valuable, but I don't know. I didn't know who he was to kind of get excited or not. Um, yeah, Matt Ryan. That's his name. I'm a deep dive right after the show. JJ said don't know much about him.
doesn't look like a Tibbs type player. Just looking at his body type in terms of defense and that kind of thing. But hey, listen, you always need a Steve Novak type. You on mute.
My bad. That's the thing. He did it with Fournier, you know what I mean? Worked, then it didn't. But you know what I mean? He brought in Shamit, and that was the big question mark about him. I mean, he showed that he has some type of defensive pulse in the minutes that we've seen him in. But the storyline was he's not a defender, not a Tibbs type guy. Tibbs might just be saying this is what we need. You know what I mean? Or the organization may be saying this is what we need. And it was like we made Hove, they're gonna make another Hove. That's like I think that's the mentality they had. Like
Talk that talk, Tone.
um but yeah, man, appreciate you guys in the chat. Shout out to the replay gang. Shuttle, appreciate you always jumping in with me. Um anything you want to add, close us out with? Anything you got coming up?
I'll be in Queens tomorrow night, October 24th. DJ Shuttle, DJ Self, David L. New York Music Festival. If you're an independent artist, manager, et cetera, et cetera, it'll be a great place to be
Rub
for
some elbows.
yeah, Russell Elbows, do some networking. connect with your favorite DJs in the city, and get it popping, and stay tuned, man. I got some events coming up in Queens, November 8th, November 9th. OG Entertainment. We're doing a big Malachi the Jaw R&B singer coming out to to the city. Oh, actually from White Plains. You're talking about Matt Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right. So, maybe you went to a boys club. Maybe you got a little game in. You know what I mean? Maybe went to a boys club. You heard? Maybe he's traveling over to YO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He, he know the vibes.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna hold it back. Maybe you got a little white chocolate in it. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah. But as of now, man, just to recap, man, is game one is one game. Boston is an incredibly talented team with a chip on their shoulders. Not a championship, but a chip on their shoulders in terms of the players feeling like you know they're not getting respected the way they think that they could or should. So yeah, I'm not really surprised they came out swinging like that. And you know, games against Milwaukee and Philly and Indy coming up for me will be more of a testament of where the team is at. So I'm looking forward to that.
Speaking real quick, because we were supposed to touch on the Indiana game. Um, real quick, what's your expectation? What's your thoughts on it? Any concerns or confidence?
Indy's a tough team, man. It's like you know their team, they're gonna jack up a lot of threes too. Like they got a lot of 3-point shooters, and my concern right now is less about the rebounding and more about the perimeter defense.
Mm-hmm.
So all that talk about, oh well, perimeter defense is going to be better. It's going to make it easier for Mitch and the big man and yada yada. It's like, all right, well, you know, Brunson, Deuce, OG, McCall, Josh Hart, like, yo, you gotta keep these guys with a hand in their face, some denial, and just overall better perimeter defense on 3-point shots.
Yeah, you kind of took everything I was gonna say, so spot on. I agree. Yeah, that 3-point shooting is not. I was saying last night on the post game show with Sim. The games don't get harder moving forward. You know what I mean? And I stand by that. But this is still a 3-point shooting threat right after another one. And if we remember the last time we played them, I was talking about using that as revenge and motivation. But the last time we played them, I think they shot historically, right? I think that was the talk of that game, like how well they shot the ball, and I think they broke some type of record, all time record of the way they shot the ball in that last game. So, just as much as we should be motivated, they may have that same thought process as or motivation that the Celtics had, hearing what we've done and who we are, and competing with the Celtics, saying like, hey, we played the Celtics, not they didn't play you know what I mean? We beat them. So yeah, it may not be a cakewalk. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think it'll be a cakewalk, but the Knicks, I mean, Brunson, you were out for the last game. OG, you were injured. You weren't really able to,
That's a fact.
what I mean, do your 1-2. Deuce, you was here. You know what I mean? Like, how about a little get back? How about a little get back? Like, yo, listen, if we was here, that wouldn't have happened. Let me show you what would have really happened last year.
And yeah, if OG we didn't go down at all, you know what I mean, we'd be playing the Celtics. So there's that. Yeah, I expect a dub. I wanted 2-0. I went on record 2-0, but I can't backtrack now. So 1-1. Let's get this win on Friday.
Listen, these first 10 games are tough, man. It's like literally every team could be a playoff team.
Hmm.
The only team
except
that
Detroit.
Detroit's in the first 10.
I think so. I think they're the one non playoff team, but I'm pretty sure that I've heard some people, oh, but they got better. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in the first 10.
Yeah. So my thing is like after the first 10 games, I mean the roster. I mean the games that you got are tough. The games you got are this is no cakewalk of a schedule.
That's right. But yeah, we
So
got we gotta get that one, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, you're right. Detroit is game 5. But you got Indiana playoff team, Cleveland playoff team, Miami playoff team, then Detroit, Houston likely playoff team, Atlanta maybe a play-in team, Milwaukee a playoff team, Indiana playoff team, Philly a playoff team, and then Chicago, who I think could also be a potential play-in team if Lonzo stays healthy. Who knows what they do. So like the schedule is not going to be really friendly at the beginning of the season. So you're gonna have to win some of these tough games, especially Indiana.
Yeah,
Some
I
of these
mean,
teams, Indiana, Cleveland, Miami, like these are tough games, but you're gonna have to win these games.
and we at home, and we at home. I
Yo,
hear you, Jarrell. 20 games, we gotta take our lumps. Let me ask you this, Jarrell, because I haven't been on with you on the Queen show. 20 game prediction for you,
mm,
or 20 game record that you're satisfied with. I'm gonna say no worse than 13-7. That's my 20 game prediction. I need 13-7 or better. We're behind the ball right now. 14-6. All right. All right. So we on the same page. 20 games. But yeah, that's it, man. I
looking at
appreciate
15,
you.
looking at 15-5.
15-5. All right, we all. I mean, I look like I'm on the lowest end of the spectrum as far as But that's a rocky start for me. 13-7. So I'm with you guys. 14-6, 15-5. Chat man, appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the super chats, Jeremy. Um, my bad. Jason Benjamin, appreciate the super chats, man. Definitely helps out. Um, yeah, until next week, I'll be back Monday. Schedule is looking like Monday, 1 o'clock, Wednesday, probably 1 o'clock. And you catch me on the Dope Soul Sports Talk. You catch me on MBK post games, Losers Lounge. Hopefully we get one in Friday. Even though I gotta work 5 a.m., I'm gonna stay up and do it. So tune in. MBK, nothing but Knicks, Losers Lounge, Knicks and Bruises, DJ Shuttle, all aboard. We out of here. Till next time. Peace.
There